So welcome back to the podcast. Welcome, 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 welcome. And if you're watching on YouTube, welcome back to this beautiful YouTube video. Today we have a very divine special guest. And as you know, I always do a little spiel introduction before I hand it over to the beautiful divine being of light in front of me. But this this is wild. One, because it's wild. Two, because it's wild. Three, because it's wild. And the reason it's so wild is this woman, we literally sat on a Zoom just like this 2 years ago, almost to the date. Literally, today is March 15th, and we had our first meeting March 21st, 2021, which is insane. And from that point on, she had a beautiful soul blueprint reading. And of course, when I do soul blueprint readings, I just speak the truth. I'm just that beautiful channel that brings the wisdom to the soul in front of me. And what I want to say is she took the wisdom and guidance that she felt in her heart and in her truth, and she created magic. So this woman, I'm going to introduce her. She is an author, a channel, and a transformational guide. And she's known by Marie Fleming Grant. And this magic all started, well, obviously the magic of her life started before we had our session, but this really tied it together because this beautiful book was something very significant that we talked about on our soul blueprint reading. And all I did was come down and I said, you know what, there's a beautiful book you're here to channel, you're a channel, and it's going to come through when you're ready. And she was like, okay, let me think about it. Let me figure it out a little bit. And we're going to talk all about this magical book, but this book is called Above and Beyond, and a human journey of courage, resilience, transformation, magic, awakening, and it's time. So this is a purely beautiful channeled book with her magical life and journey inside of it as well, which is profound. And I feel like the mix and the combination of it, you know, it really helps you relate even deeper to allowing the transformation in your life, because so many times I feel like you see people that are, you know, in this space and it's like, oh, their life's perfect. They didn't have to move through anything, but really there were so many things that I moved through, she moved through, and other beautiful divine beings of light moved through to get to the places where we are. So without further ado, I would like to welcome this beautiful divine being of light to the podcast / YouTube. Come on up and introduce yourself, and welcome to the show.
Hello, I'm so excited to be here because apart from us having our first session 2 years ago, because I listened to this podcast and I know the magic that you have on here. I was just saying before we hit record, I listen to this podcast every week in the bath. It's like my ritual. So to be on it, I'm very honored. So thank you for inviting me on it.
Now you get to listen to yourself in the bath.
Yeah, I'll do that next time. So yeah, I'm just excited, and the timing as well. Yeah, because it was March 2 years ago. 2 years seems to have just gone by very quickly. But yeah, lots of things have happened in that space. So yeah, I'm just very, very excited to be here talking to you.
I love it. And what I want to say is, not only did she write this beautiful book, but Marie was a beautiful client of mine in the space of transforming her money as well. So I had the pleasure of spending so much more time with you and just kind of getting to know you. And the way that I describe you is, one, your accent is amazing. And two, there's so much love that just, you know, penetrates from your field at a high capacity. And I want to say what you exude in this world is, there's so much confidence that you bring into the world that I feel, you know, sometimes in our own mind, we're like, really? Where do you see it from? But I feel like there's this beautiful, legendary wisdom of confidence inside of you. And I feel like the transformation that I've seen you take over the 2 years, it's even at a higher capacity. And I just want to celebrate you. I want to celebrate you for this beautiful book that you created. Literally, y'all, like, this takes dedication. There's so many, and I'm going to be guilty because I still have a book that's like 6 weeks It's 6 chapters, excuse me. It's still sitting there, and it's been sitting there for probably over a year. So I want to say that, having this physical book and knowing that there's beautiful souls that are able to read it and have such a transformation with it, it's been inspiration. And the first question that I want to ask you is, after you had your soul blueprint reading and after you heard this wisdom that channeled in, like, what went through your head?
uh, what the hell, what is happening to my life? And also massive excitement. So I remember, I've written about this in the book, actually. It was to get to you. By the time I got to you with the session, I had kind of been following this magical sort of breadcrumbs, right? Just sort of finding you on YouTube was where it was just magical in itself. So by the time I got to the session with you, I was so excited. I was like a child. I've had so many sessions over the years. I've done so many different things with different people, but I had never felt like a child coming in, like so excited to sit with you. And I had no idea. I thought you were just going to share some things around, I knew I was here for big things, and I knew I was here to do things in the world. And I didn't really think beyond that. So when you just, and I didn't even know how you were going to do it. So because I'd only found you a week before, by the way, just so for those of you listening, sometimes you can just find the right mentor and you just jump in immediately. So I literally only found you a week before. I had never heard of you or seen you anywhere until I was getting these nudges around this whole thing around being a starseed and a light worker and that kind of thing. And then it was only when I went onto YouTube, and have you ever done this where you're searching for something, you don't even know what it is? And I put something in about Arcturian. I wanted to find out something about that. I put some random search thing, and then you popped up on YouTube talking about Arcturians and starseeds, and I listened to you, and I put this in the book, literally. I was like, I just love this woman straight away. And I felt like I just started laughing. You were doing light language. I'd never really heard a lot of light language before. Maybe I didn't even know what it was. Maybe I heard one person, I didn't even know what they were doing. So when you started speaking, I was just like moved, and I wanted to laugh. I felt like I didn't understand it, but it was like full of love and joy, and like I really reacted. Then I went and read this book you recommended, We the Arcturians.
Yeah,
I
so
needed
good.
information. Yeah. And so
So good.
Literally while I was listening to you, I ordered it on Amazon on my phone, like while I was still watching you talk, because I was just like, I need what I need right now. And then so I carried on, and I read that book in about 1 to 2 days. Like I
Oh my God.
devoured it. It was a big
Wow.
book. I was like, I'm
Yeah,
just
it is
going
a
to read
big
it.
book.
Speed reading. I was like obsessed, and like in a good way. And then I went back to YouTube. I saved your video. I couldn't even remember your name, right? I was like, okay, who is this woman? Okay, yeah, I've got her. I went back onto your YouTube. I was looking for something, didn't know what it was. I found myself looking at your links, like, what is she all about? What does she offer? And I hit the link, and then I found Soul Blueprint reading, and I was like, yeah, that's it. I need that. That's exactly what I didn't know I needed it till I saw the offer, clicked on it, and booked. And then so it was literally a week later. So when I sat with you, I didn't know much about how you even worked, which is why it's so magical. And then the way that you did it, just blew me away. It was your energy, which I already knew I loved. And it was just, you just channeled so directly. And I'd never seen anyone channel in that way. So, it was like that in itself was mind blowing. And then you just channeled all through these things, and I got goosebumps. I got very emotional. I remember because I've watched the replay a few times. I've sat and I've watched our session, and it's helped me a lot, actually. And I remember getting really emotional just at what you were saying.
Mm-hmm.
And when you talked about writing this book, I was like relieved as well, because when you've got something inside of you that it's for you, but sometimes you need to hear it from outside of you.
Yeah.
Right. No matter how
100%.
connected we are, no matter how aligned we are, I believe we all need sometimes that outside, right, support and guidance. So you
100%.
just channeled it through. Yeah. And then what really surprised me, because the book was more like confirmation and a relief. And it was like, oh no, you are going to be an author. Okay, good. I knew I was going to do that. But when you started saying to me, okay, you're also a channel, that completely shocked me. That was the plot twist for me of all plot twists. I never, ever saw that coming. That made no sense to me. And yet there was something of
You
a
just
kind
felt
of
it.
intrigue, yeah, when you did say it. So it's like, ooh.
I want to say, well, I want to backtrack because one, I want to say, I know that you listen to, I know that you listen to the podcast in your bathtub, but it's like the fact that you found me on YouTube and now you're going to be on my channel as well as like, it's like full circle and it's so profound. And I really want to reflect. It's like when the universe is trying to direct you and guide you and you're seeking that wisdom, it will get it in front of you no matter what. Like the stories that I've heard from the way that people have found me are just like crazy. And I feel it's the same way with me and the mentors that have truly helped me shift and move forward. And I want to talk about, the fact of being a channel. Like I never knew that I was going to be a channel. My mom growing up, she always went to like psychic guides and tarot readings, but I was never like, that's the profession I'm going to do when I get older, right?
Yeah.
But one day I was at a conference and this woman was channeling in front of me. And I was like, I want to do that for my clients. That was literally what I was like, I want to do that. And it connected with me so deeply. So for the fact that it's like now, you know, that gift that someone else showed me, I get to show other people. And that's why I feel like, you don't find anything just because of like, oh, I just found it. There's some type of magic inside of it. There's some type of magic inside of it. And I recently just had a beautiful client that signed up with me and she found me on YouTube as well. And she told me, she's like, I didn't even press play on your video, but all of a sudden you just started playing. And I was like, what is this? And it's like, it's like the quantum version of you is like, we need that. Let's go. Let's go. So one, I want to say thank you for just hearing the call and receiving the call and receiving the connection, and allowing yourself to access these beautiful, profound gifts. So, we had multiple sessions and we did have a session to help bring her on as a channel and start this whole process. And obviously, I know you did amazing work before you were a channel, but, bringing on that extra layer of you, how did it help in your business? How did it shift you and working with people and your clients and just even you in general in your
It
own
changed
life?
everything. Yeah, because just before that, I was hitting this brick wall, which a lot of people have said that to me since I've worked with them in this way. So my business was starting to feel, that kind of stagnancy, like nothing. I just wasn't in love with what I was doing, even though I've been doing it for a good few years. And I was going deep because I do the healing work with people and the transformational work. And I always loved it, but it just wasn't, there seemed to be something that I wasn't hitting or connecting with. And I remember you saying in the session, it's because you're here to channel, which again blew me away. And you said you're not going to do it yet. You did say there'll be a few months because my body's being prepared. I was having all sorts of activations. I mean, I was exhausted that summer. I was like totally wiped out. And then I didn't come to you for another till July. Yeah, so it was a few months where I came back to you, and then we did the activation and opening the channel. But I felt like when I did that, I mean, it was amazing. I was expecting as well on that one to, gradually start to connect, but it was like, oh no, it was like a switch, which was a bit weird.
Literally.
It was a bit weird. It was amazing though. But after that, and then you take a bit of time to get used to your teams and getting used to the energy of them and the angelic realm and the high Arcturian council. And I was kind of it's like hanging out with them and working with them. And then everything changed because then I did a summit, another thing you channeled for me actually in that
Oh yeah, that's true. I know.
yeah.
You had a lot of resistance for that too.
I was like dragging my heels. I was all right with the book. I could do that in my own private time, but at the time I was still working through a massive amount of visibility. So suddenly becoming a channel and then being told, okay, do a summit now with no less than 20 people. I was like, I don't even like 20 people. I was like, I can't even think of 20 people that I like enough to collaborate with, right? And then they were saying, no, don't worry, you'll cross paths with the right people. And I did. It was amazing. So suddenly I guess the main thing was I went from feeling very much like I was working on my own, trying to make something in this world on my own, to I am divinely supported and loved and guided every step of the way. And now I also know that everybody else is also divinely guided and loved and supported. And it just changes the whole game. I feel, on, suddenly I wasn't trying to work things out from my head, even services, how I was going to do things. When I started to trust it, I was able to just ask my team and for guidance. you
Yes.
know it's almost like, am I allowed to
Yeah.
do that shortcut?
Yeah.
But they said, we're not interfering with your free will. It's just, there'll be things we can just help you with. You can just get on with the work, get on with the
True.
important,
And I feel like, speaking to that, just growing up and I had a business prior to channeling, and I hit that same point. I was like, I'm not fully in love with it. There's something missing, but I just cannot put my finger on it. And bringing on the channeling and quantum healing and light language, that like just sparked a whole new generation of my business. But also, even when I channeled my first live online book, I channeled it so quickly. And I felt guilty, because I was like, I shouldn't just be able to write a book in like a month and a half. Like, people are working on 20 years, 10 years, like this isn't, but then, sitting with my team, they're like, you have so much, wisdom to share with the world. So of course it's going to come easy. If you're meant, this is literally what you were birthed in this world to do, to channel, to bring wisdom and to bring it at a high divine speed for people to wake up and expand and grow and evolve. So once I started hearing that, it all started making sense. So it was like, those months, years when I was like knocking on my head, like, what program should I create? What should I put out? And then I'm just like, okay, team, let's tune in with the collective. What do they need right now? And my team's like, oh, this and this. And I'm like, oh, that feels really good, And of course, we always have the free will to choose, but it's like the I want to say the engine of my business is like pristine now. It's like, it's not the broken down car anymore. Let's say that. It's not the broken down car. It's like the new car right out the lot, where it's just easy and you're always going to be supported. So I'm happy that you spoke to that as well, because it is a profound transformation to have that whole big team. So when you drop into that, and I want you to go back, because I know that you were in it. So it's like you had your summit, and go back to your magic. Tell me
Yeah, I
about
think,
it.
I had the summit, and I mean, that was pulling me out of the comfort zone, because I wasn't I wasn't channeling there. It was just before I had the activation with you, but it was about just kind of getting out there and being seen more. That was a massive theme for me, because I think I see what they were doing now. Very clever. They were like getting me ready.
Yeah.
Because then I didn't realize, after that summit, actually that drew quite a few new people to me, some beautiful souls that I've worked with since, and they're in my, kind of world now. And that would never have happened, if I had not done the summit, and it was just the right time. And the number of people that told me when they found me through the summit as well, it was the right time for them. There's something so beautiful and magical about that, when we get past our own hang-ups. Like, I think if I never just went through with that, and I really did, because I did drag my heels, as I was working with you on one of your programs. It was the money one, but it was the one before that. It was like something to do with our soul impact. Can't even remember. I binged so much of your stuff. Can't remember. It was a
Soul. It was like the Soul Recode, something of
something
that
like that.
sort.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was one of
Yeah.
those. Yeah, it was so good. And so every week I was showing up, and I was like, had these visibility things, and you were given messages around, okay, do 2 live streams a week, or do this and this, and I was really being prepped. So I was I had this whole thing around visibility, so that really brought me out of myself. And I think that's where the confidence clicked in a level that I sort of had it before, but I had to really almost like put a face on, and I was still inside going, oh my God, I don't really want to be seen. So then the summit just kind of clicked me into, I guess, more of like a leadership. I kind of stepped into, oh no, I'm here for good, like expansive work. I'm going to kind of stand straight and hold myself now. So after that, I think it was very, very shortly after that, actually, probably like the following, it was probably like a couple of weeks after that summit. Yeah, it was. Then we had the channel activation, and that's when I became activated. And then they started giving me guidance of literally go out onto your Facebook and channel messages. And I was like, oh no. Can I not just be a channel kind of like quietly and
Just for myself, please.
just for myself, I'll share really great messages, but And they were like, no, do it kind of outwardly. So I had a Facebook group. So I started off in there and I was doing live streams and I was channeling direct messages and almost testing it out. Because I used to be a lawyer, so I still had this like whole old like paradigm of I still need to see some evidence.
Yeah.
This is real. So I was looking for people to kind of validate it and tell me, oh no, this is so accurate, or this really resonates and it's doing something for me. So I was practicing in this really safe group and I loved it. Did that for a while. And then my team were like, now you have to go out on your public Facebook page, not even your business one, where it's a bit of a funny algorithm, actual profile. And they said it was all about coming out as a channel, calling yourself a channel, directly hold a live stream and channel for people. And I was like, oh, I've got friends, I've got family, I've got ex-colleagues who only know me in this capacity from years ago as a sensible lawyer. I was like, oh my God. But they were loving, and also, you know, as you know, they can be quite direct when they want to be, you know, they'll nudge you. It isn't all like flowers and rainbows. It's like sometimes they're like, you've got to step out and it's time for you to do it. And they do it with humor as well. But yeah, and that's kind of started me on that. Okay, I'm just going to have to just get over my own self. And for me, it was more like I just tapped into the bigger mission. It just felt like this isn't even about me. Of course, it's like my life and everything, and I get to enjoy all of that. But it's the messaging and the soul work isn't about me. It's what's coming through, and it's my mission, and I'm going to think about who I'm here to help. Maybe one soul will hear something I say, right? And that's great. That's a great thing you've done that day. So I just started getting into that, and then it just sort of starts to become just a part of who I was, you know. So it feels natural now to
just be you.
Yeah.
This is one thing that I also want to do, is just recognize you, because you know, a lot of people will receive the guidance and wisdom, but they won't take the steps. They won't take the action steps. They will not. But like, even though you were just like, no, what is this? You know, there was something inside of you that was like screaming, yes, this is for me. And that part of you allowed it to encompass that other version of you that might have been like, you wanted to hide in a closet. And, you know, I feel like you tapped right on it when you said it's the bigger mission. It's the bigger understanding that, you know, we chose to come to this beautiful earth, and we chose to be these vessels to spread this wisdom. And that means being seen. You know, that means being writing or becoming an author or creating a podcast or a YouTube, or, you know, however people want to share their beautiful gifts. But it's just grounding into how transformative the messages that we bring to earth are. And I feel like, you know, our human is like, well, I just need one person to tell me that they felt really good after listening to this. Because trust me, I was the same way. You know, I would get the messages or the you know, the comments after the sessions, and I'm like, okay, this is working. This is good. Okay, let's keep going. But I will tell you, and something that really came up for me was, I love channeling. Like, especially when I'm in the deep channel and I'm just like on one. And like, even if it's like, you know, I woke up that day and I already have, I'm going to record something or have a live channel, and I'm just like not feeling it as much, because I am human. But it's like, I go in and I get into the channel and I spread that wisdom. And I tell you, after I come out, I am just like in such a bliss state.
Yeah.
It is, isn't so blissful. It's such a blissful experience to channel. What I would love to ask you is, I know that you've been talking about just working with your team and things of that sort, but let's go deeper into that. So were there any moments where you had just like complete resistance of, you know, working with your team, or did you ever doubt that you were hearing things and you just thought it was yourself? Like, what's your journey with that?
Yeah, at the beginnings, I know in our session, you know, we went straight into it, and you were like, channel some stuff. I was like, what now? And I was like, it was interesting because it was sort of like, once you activated me, it was like, all it felt like was, you know, when you hear a radio station, it's a bit crackly, and then until you like really tune in, and then it's really clear. So it was like it was hard to recognize at first because it felt like my own thoughts. And it was this very familiar voice or voices, not even right, it's energies, right? Energies that they have always been there. They've always been with me through my life, right? Same for you, same for others. And so it was like, but they sound so familiar. And then there was this whole trust process on that, going, no, trust that it is real and you're not making it up, especially when what would happen is I would channel through, because I don't hear anything. It's not like clairaudient. It's more, I don't know how it's probably similar for you. I never asked you this, but it's like, it's words, but there's no sound to the words, if that makes sense. It's just, I understand it. It just comes through and I can speak. So when I was kind of on a roll and I could just, it just came out. It was like coming out so quickly. I wasn't pausing to stop to hear it. After I was practicing for a bit, it was like, I can just talk now. And it's like, da, 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 da. And it was like a real trust exercise, because there were even sort of 6 months in, so I'm coming up to 2 years now, but around 6 months in, I still had the odd moment of, did I just make that up? Like, I'm an articulate person, maybe I can just make stuff up, right?
Yeah.
But then there was still an element of being in the head with it. So it is a journey, right? Because you've got to sort of drop down into it. So if I compare that to, say, how I am now, there's never a doubt, because I'm channeling the energies and I can feel them. And I can feel them. And I hope when people receive it, they can feel it's the words and the information, but it's the energies. And so now it's like, it's a total trust. But then that's like any relationship.
True.
I think it's like, and it will also bring up your stuff if you have trusting issues in relationships. With your channel, it's going to bring them up, because my issue was not being very good at allowing support. I have a very supportive husband, so I like all day long he'll support me, but I still had issues around that. I was very like lone wolf kind of energy. So one of my big things with the channel was remembering that I could actually ask for support and be supported. That was massive. Also overlaps with the money thing, right? Because it's all about receiving. And so that was probably the more challenging part of it for me, was like, oh, can I just ask you then?
Because we're not taught that. Like, even I feel like I was in that space of like, I have to do it all myself. And the support that I have is myself. And obviously my family's amazing, but it's like, I always leaned on myself, which her husband is amazing. I just want to say that as well. So sweet, such a sweet soul. And something funny that happened, and I hope you don't mind me saying this, is that when she would go through her activations, he would also have It's like, what are you doing in session?
It's so funny because it was one of your 6-week programs. It might have been the second thing. I can't even remember. It was one of them. It was brilliant. All of your work was brilliant, but it was this particular, it was potent. I think you had some kind of upgrades with your codes, and it was like, then you were pouring it into your program because that's what you always do. And so we were like on the receiving ends of these potent frequencies. And I was like, that's why I was really tired for a while. I was just drinking loads of water. I was buzzy. I was like, and my husband didn't know, like he knew I was doing some program, but he didn't really like know what it was or whatever. But I went downstairs and he said, really weird stuff's happening. He said, I just suddenly burst out laughing for no reason. I was like, oh, and he said a few times, and I said to him, this is what I'm doing this energetic work. It's deep, and we're shifting timelines, and every time, like, you did a lot of stuff with me with the higher self, for example, which really helped, by the way, with everything I do now. And every time we were doing this kind of like activating the higher timeline, connecting to the higher self, he being a seer, I would go downstairs maybe like half an hour later, and he would say, I just got this vision of something we're going to do in the future, or maybe the home that we're going to build, land on, because we've got all these visions we want to do. And he would get this vision, and it was like every time I did timeline work, this is why this stuff is real, with you, he would get the vision. So it was like, I was so funny. So every time, and then there was one time I came in to do a session with you, and he was like, okay, just hopefully I'll get a rest today, he said, because I'm like, I am feeling this, he said, but also tell her thank you. And I said, like 2 for 1, right? It does impact people around you, right? Especially if you're connected in that way. It was amazing. was
It's
amazing.
it was just so fun to experience both of them going through it. And it's like, if you commit to doing the work, no matter if it's like people around you, your clients, your family, they're gonna feel it.
Mm.
Especially when you're in that beautiful union, you get to feel it. But it's like I also want to just acknowledge him, because someone that feels those codes so strongly already means that he is at an enlightened state to feel it at a deep
Yeah,
capacity as well. Because you could be in union and the other person's not very awake and they won't feel anything. So that
yeah.
just shows that he is just so open to the magic of the
Yeah,
universe as
he is. And
well.
he's walking his path. He's doing all sorts of like healing, deep stuff. It's like challenging, but he's, oh God, he's so amazing and courageous because he's on this path at the moment. And yeah, he's doing a lot. So yeah, it's only going to get better and more expansive. So he loves what you do. He absolutely loves it. So he's
I
all on
received
board
that.
with
I
this.
received that.
Yeah.
Okay, this is oh so good. This is it's just and going to that, I think the program that you were in, and this is I want to speak to this because I think it's so powerful. You know, I always am we're always upgrading, but I really value the growth work. So whenever I enter a very large container myself, my clients, receive that impactful work. So I think it was when I entered, or it was like I think it was like a 5-figure investment coach that I was working with. So all of that was just being poured into my clients as well. So that's probably what you were feeling. But it's
Oh,
just, it goes to show you that, you know, when we elevate ourselves so highly, our clients receive even more, and that's
mm,
powerful. So that's why I feel like my journey of evolution and growth is I don't want to ever stop. I want to
I'm the
keep
same.
going.
Yeah, I'll keep
Yeah.
going. Yeah, definitely.
So how long did it take you to write this magical book?
So this book, yeah, because I had dragged my heels on it, and I feel you on that, that kind of procrastination and feeling like bad about yourself because you haven't done it and you see other people do it and all of that. So I did that whole thing, drag my heels. So what I did, I just tried to avoid it. I was getting real nudges though from my team saying, time to write your book, but also it was coming from me. I started to not sleep well. That's always a sign for me.
Mm,
I was like agitated, right? Agitation and irritation, these are all good signs, I think, when you understand them, because I was like
yeah,
waking up in the night feeling very, that pent up you haven't expressed.
yeah.
That started to really creep in. It used to happen when I didn't live stream, so then I was getting over that. So anytime I didn't speak, it was like, you've got words.
Wow. Okay. Okay.
So that's why I was like, oh, so when I've been really like regular with my showing up now, so it feels better for me. And I notice when if I plan to say something and then I don't, my body doesn't let me get away with it. It's like you're supposed to express, right? So it's really strong. So I was dealing with that. And then when the book came in, I was trying to ignore it. That's what I do. And that thing started coming in. I would lay down in the bed and my heart would sort of start getting my attention, and I'd have to get up and my mind would start swirling, and I'd have all these kind of, it's almost like downloads of what was in the book, but it was
Mhm.
swirling. I call it like a creative traffic jam. It's
I
like
love
you've got
that.
all these, yeah, like it's there, and it's like if you don't pour that out, you're going to start feeling it, and you're going to start feeling really quite, especially if it's really purposeful, your soul won't let you get away with just not doing it, right?
Yeah.
So you're going to feel it. So I was like, okay, I hear it, I receive it, I'm going to have to do something here. So the way that I did it, it was like, okay, I'm going to reverse engineer this. So I just decided, I was like, okay, I'm really going to decide and commit. So I put a post out on Facebook and I said, I've decided I'm writing this book once and for all. And then I chose a date. I gave myself 8 weeks, which was, I'd never do this again,
Yeah.
but 8 weeks. I declared it. I just found the calendar. I was like, oh, I like the 8th of
Eight
the 8th.
weeks.
Yeah. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it, but I wouldn't not recommend it.
Okay. Okay.
Depending on you as a soul, right? You can use your discernment. But for me, it was like, sometimes I need that edge and I need that. I don't always like that adrenaline because that's not where I live anymore. But sometimes I do utilize it because it
Yeah.
gets my arse into gear. So I just plucked a date. I was like, what do I feel about August? Yes, the 8th just seemed really good. I didn't realize it was Lionsgate Portal.
Lionsgate, yeah.
Didn't even think about
Of
it. I was like,
course.
oh yeah, great. So then I was like, once I declared it, I was like, right, so now I'm going to have to just write this book. I have no idea how to publish or do any of that. I'll just not worry about that. So this is what I've done a lot. I've often gone, I decide this, I don't need to know how, because that just gets in the way. I'm just going to do my bit, right? My bit is I got to write the book. And then I was like, well, I don't even know what's in this book. I don't know what it's called. I know it's about my life. I don't know what else. Because yeah, when you channeled that for me, the guidance was, because I was asking a couple of questions, and remember your guidance from them was they're going to let me feel into it because they wanted it to land and drop in. So because it was such a personal book, I would feel it. So I was kind of waiting for the drop. But once I decided I was going to write it, it dropped in, and it was like, okay, it's just going to be you're just going to tell your story, not everything, believe it or not. That's only a bit of it, but you're going to tell a thread of this story, and it's all going to make sense. And the guidance on that a lot was, you've already written this, and you told me this. Yeah, you told me this in the session or somewhere when we worked. They confirmed it again, and they said, you've already written this, your higher self has already created it. So all you're doing is you're pulling it into the reality. So, oh yeah, because you told me I'll just be almost just channeling it through. I won't be figuring it out, because initially I was thinking chapters, structures, and it was like, no, just write. And it was, I literally just wrote, and I told the story, and I instinctively knew, okay, chapter 2.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's the end of that.
What event, everything. Yeah.
It was like, I don't have to structure and worry about, I don't even know how many chapters. I had no idea. I didn't expect it was going to be that big. That would have probably been overwhelming if I knew. Like, that would have scared the hell out of me. But I didn't know. So I was like, oh, I'm just going to write it till it's done. So I channeled that through. There were some times I was very reluctant. Like, I didn't want to sit in the chair, because some of that's personal. And I've done a lot of healing on my own journey. I've done so much, but there are still layers, right? There's always extra layers. So as I was writing it, there were some moments, because I was really in the scene, I had to just kind of ground in, but I was doing a lot of clearing as well. It was great. So I wrote it, and then as I was writing it, I was just looking for a book cover. I was like, let me just keep an eye on that. I found one, perfect. It was exactly what I had in my mind.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I love it.
It just matched. The title started to come in, the subtitle just kind of, all just sort of molded together. And I tell you what, it doesn't even make logical sense with the time frame, because in that 8 weeks, as well as writing it, there was loads of editing. It was all done. I did it myself, and my husband helped me because he's a writer and he's just good at grammar.
Perfect.
So he was like, he just helped me. We were up for like a lot of nights doing it, trying to get it done. So we did lots of editing. That. Yeah, like it was a lot of hard work. We did a lot of editing. And then I decided it was also like I didn't hire anyone, because also it was partly like trying to keep costs down as well. And I didn't really know what a big job it was. So hindsight, I know for next time, but I took it all on myself. So then I had to figure out all the formatting, the editor, the formatting, and I did it all. I found a way. But the funny thing was, things would just come to me. I found like an app I could use, and I could format it. And I learned, I'm quite a quick learner, so I did that. So I just sort of figured it all out. And it just happened. But I'm a big believer that time can expand when you decide. I always play with time. Right. I always, so I just like, I'm like, the book's going to be done on the 8th, because it is. It's not negotiable. So time is just going to have to expand. And it did. I don't know. Logically, it doesn't make sense how I got all of that done. And I wasn't doing it crazy.
Working in the quantum.
Yeah, because I wasn't doing it all day long. Every day. In between that, I was teaching, I was doing my live streams, I was running programs or seeing clients, I was resting, I was doing nothing, daydreaming. I had a lot of expansive time. So there were days where I was putting hours in, but it wasn't like that's all I was doing. So logically that doesn't make sense, but that's time, right? That's quantum.
It's quantum. It's already there. It's being channeled through. It's something that, your soul is like literally thriving as you're birthing. So it's a different experience. It's like, if you were writing a book on like how to create an Adobe blah 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 or something like that, it's going to be a different experience than something that is really meaningful for you and connected to you. And I also feel like the birthing process of it is really exciting. Going from wait, I'm here to write a book. Can I do that? To like, oh my God, I'm on chapter 5. What's going
Yeah.
on? And it's
Yeah.
just like, I think you just get in this energy of, yeah, let's keep going. Let's keep going.
Yeah.
But I do feel like, since our higher selves already have these beautiful books, it really helps us just collapse time on the human level, because it's already there. And I feel like if people really knew, and I know there's a lot of authors in my beautiful community, there's a lot of beautiful authors. Like if you really knew that the books you have, that you're dreaming about writing, that you're dreaming about birthing, are already here for you, it would really put a different perspective in the world. And they're saying even go beyond that, like the world, you know your words that you want to cultivate, the stages that you want to walk, the programs you want to create, the clients you want to receive, like it's all here in the quantum.
Yeah.
Every single thing, like we're not creating anything at all. It's already here. It's already prepared for us. And they're saying when we look at the world creation, it's like, okay, well, let's create a new life. It's that life's already in the quantum. We're just pulling it to us. We're just being a magnet to us. So you birthing this book into the world was you collapsing time to that timeline, to that embodiment, to that individual of you that's already an author, that's
Yeah, that
already a
really
writer.
helped. That really, I think that was really the thing that shifted me, because we get into our heads, don't we, about
Mhm.
like time and can we, and when I went from, oh, I have to write a book, like it sounds like you've got a blank page in front of you, because that a lot of people have a blank page. I've done it,
Yeah.
and you just freeze. You're like,
What's
I don't know,
happening?
like perfectionism. And I'm a massive, I like recovering perfectionist, because I used to live like in that way, right? So this blank page. But when I shifted from, I'm not making any of this up in this
Yeah.
way, it's like I'm here to bring it through, right? Higher self is the higher self. So they've done like the hard work, really. It's like we're doing the hard work, kind of being in the human, like with all the programs and stuff around us, but we literally have had it created, which is why we get the desire. So when I shifted into, I'm just bringing it in, it's just my job to bring it in, I've applied that to everything. So even now when I'm, I used to worry before, like how am I going to get clients, right? Or how am I going to like make this stuff happen? And now I'm like, oh, in the summit taught me that. It's like, no, my job is just my job. My job is to show up, talk, share messages. Actually, I have to show up, because otherwise no one knows I'm here.
Exactly.
Because that you can't get away with that. I did try, it doesn't work.
I've tried to.
Definitely tried it. But like souls will be guided to us, right? Same as we find, like I found you. Remember you even saying, I think you said at one point you hadn't even been on YouTube that much, but you were getting nudges to put your Instagram things onto YouTube. Now I
Yeah.
was not on Instagram at the time, so I couldn't have found you on Instagram. So weird, right? And
It was
wonderful.
crazy because my team was
Totally.
literally like, and my team had to nail it in really hard because I resisted it so much. I did. They're like, put your videos on YouTube. I'm like, yeah, later. Put your videos on YouTube. Yeah, later. And I feel like once I integrated into YouTube, I literally had like overnight, it was like 100 people started following me. And then I was like, oh, okay, I get it. And I've
Yeah.
had so many beautiful clients come over from YouTube. And it's something that I would always do with my clients, is like tuning in, like, where's your community at? Where are they
Mm,
hanging out at? And it's like, for you got this big pull for Facebook, right? For
yeah,
me, it's
yeah.
like Instagram, YouTube, even like there's such a big pull of like be gravitating to TikTok more. So
I
it's
see
like,
you on there. Yeah, I
yeah,
can imagine you being really great on
everywhere.
TikTok. Yes. Yes.
But it's the what they're saying is like the more that we listen, and the more that we just receive, they're just trying to make it easier for us. They're not saying you need to do all of these things, but even with YouTube, I'm literally just taking things from Instagram and just popping them on, or popping them on for my podcast. So it's like I'm not doing extra work. I'm
Yeah.
just allowing more people to find me and grow and evolve and activate. So these nudges are so powerful. These
Yeah. That's
nudges are
me on
so
Instagram,
powerful.
because I was a Facebook person, only because that's where I joined years ago and that was the only platform I ever knew. But I was getting nudges the last few months to kind of share more onto Instagram. So I'm kind of doing that now. And it's nice to kind of open up into, because there's different people on different
Yeah.
platforms. So yeah, it's all just more expansive and wonderful, really. I love it.
It's like you never know. And like even I look back at some of my clients that are like, that found me on YouTube, like yourself. And it's like, would this book have been birthed? It's like, even obviously you could have found someone else. But we had this, energetic signature to help you grow and evolve and expand. And it's like knowing that just as you receive your clients, you have this beautiful energetic signature that clients are looking for to activate their truth. And the more that we just hone into my energetic signature is literally attracting the clients that are ready for me. It makes life easier. It makes service more fun. And, it's more of the playground that we get to create in this space.
It's more fun. I think fun is so important in this work, and that's like my compass now. As soon as I'm like not having fun, not I'm saying like every moment of every day, but fairly often, like most of the time, right? It's got to feel fun and light. And when it doesn't, that is my sign to go, oh, what is happening here? So it's usually a sign of, oh, you've either outgrown something, you're ready for more magic, so you just need to be more magic in some way, and then it becomes fun again. Or maybe you need to release something or drop something you're doing, so that's a real compass for me now. And especially with the way I channel as well, it's like, because they're fun. Like, it's not, some people sometimes think channeling is super serious. It can sound like that sometimes, but they're super fun energies. And they're very playful. They can be very playful, and there's just so much lightness, right? So fun is like, if you're not having fun in what you're doing, maybe take a step back and figure something out. Why are we doing it? Like, why are we doing it if we're not enjoying it? Because we're not here to be martyrs, which is something that comes up with a lot of times when I work with someone. It's because we've had lots of past lives doing this work, but being like very in the sacrifice energy, or the struggle energy, and like being persecuted and all of this like heavy stuff. So we forget sometimes that we're like, no, it's a different lifetime.
Different lifetime. It's accepted. It's open. There's a lot of people that are understanding of it, so it's definitely more free time. And we're in such a big, powerful evolution. So I love that you spoke about just having fun and bringing it in that space. And I feel like that's even something that I've been cultivating more of, like, well, what's really fun to me? And it's like, and I want to speak to this, especially when I came into the coaching industry, it was like, you need to pick this one thing and stick with it, because that's what people need. But if like you pick that one thing and you have no passion for it to lead and guide with it, then it's not doing anything for anyone at all. It's like, come back to choosing what you love, and the thing that's coming in is like a hula hooper, right? You would think like, okay, but how can a hula hooper make money? It's like, well, a very passionate hula hooper, I've seen very passionate hula hoopers literally create enterprises for doing what they love. So it's just coming back to like, what lights you up to get out of the bed? What's exciting for you in that space? So
you helped me with that. Oh, sorry.
No, go for it.
No, because you helped me with that one, because I remember when I was working with you and I was seeing how you sell and how you do things, and I was watching like how do you do it, because I really recognized like something in your energy that I felt was similar to my energy as well. And what struck me about you is because you kind of reflected what I always felt like. I don't want to just offer one thing or have a signature anything like one program, like this is the thing or this is the package. And when I saw you, like, you kind of just very unapologetically offered like a load of stuff.
I did. Very much so.
Love that. And I was like, I loved being able to like click on your links and go, what has she got? Oh, she's got this like masterclass here and another one and a bundle and like an offer here and the thing. And I love that kind of, this is just how I am. Like, I love that. This whole thing around a confused buyer, like it stuck with me for a while. And I was thinking, oh, I have to just like rein myself in and like maybe pick 2 or 3 things and just stick with that. But just want to share that with you because you really expanded that up for me. And now it's like, if I have 3 things, if I have 10 things, it doesn't matter. Like, it just depends on what mood I'm in and how expansive and how much I can hold, because sometimes I can hold a lot of things.
True. And I feel like in that space, I saw same thing, just how it opened up for you. I saw other, mentors just like sharing unapologetically how they could offer things. And I was like, I want to do that. That feels fun
Yeah.
because I like working on multiple things at once, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
It gives me more than one area of creation, I feel like. And when it comes to like, selling, because even I've gotten the question like, how do you sell multiple things at once? And I'm like, because there's going to be a person that's, an energetic signature match to a bundle, an energetic signature match to a one-to-one call. And I'm just creating a space for people to have and be served. That's literally what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I'm creating a space for people to come in and be served in the area that they are desiring right now in that space. But coming from my soul signature and putting out what I love and adore and what ignites me, and my own journey, what I've taken as well. So I feel like, some people need that signature, like, and it's,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's, if you feel like you're more of the signature person and you want to run that one program, that's totally fine.
Exactly.
But I feel like I have a lot in me that
Yeah, I'm
wants to
saying.
come out and be birthed. So it is fun. It's my
Yeah.
playground. Yeah. So thank you I received that. I received
Yeah.
that
Good.
acknowledgement. Thank you. And for anyone else listening or watching, it's like giving yourself the freedom to serve and sell. Sell is just service. It's just serving. It's like when you put something out there, it's like, this is how I'm serving my community today. Obviously we could talk a lot about, the idea of serving and selling at the same time, because I know there's this icky connotation about it. And when I first went into service, I would only share my program like once a week. And I'm like, why isn't anyone coming in? It's like, because no one knows what you're offering, girl. Because I didn't want to feel like I was selling too much on my platform. But then it was like, you know what, Melissa, this is a business. And it's like Target, if you live in the States, or another big brand store, they're not going to be like, oh, I'm just going to send one ad out a month. They're like, no, I'm going to show you all the magic that I have in my store so that you can come in and purchase what you need and desire. So I show you all the magic that I have in my store so you can come in and purchase what you need and desire, in that space. It's like, bring your shopping bag, come into Melissa's mall.
Yeah, I like
Yeah,
fun. It's so much fun. Yeah.
it is. It is. So before we close this up, because I want to honor your time as well, please let all the communities, podcasts and YouTube, are you working on any, are there any more books that want to be birthed?
Yeah, so
Or
I'm in the process of
okay,
getting my second book. I haven't started writing it. I'm going to start the writing in April. That's the plan,
okay,
because I'm just collating some stuff now. So this one's going to be about more like transformations, like what they look like, what they feel like. I don't even know yet. I don't even know. This was another thing, right? I got the guidance through a few months ago saying, okay, book number 2 is going to be kind of like almost like a case study book.
okay,
So you're just going to like open up the thing, have some beautiful souls come in, work with you for a few months, and then you're just going to see what content and themes come up with their permission as well, which I've got.
okay.
And
I
just
love
kind of
that.
collate this, like, I don't even know anything more than that. So I'm intrigued with the journey because I don't know what this book is. So something to do with transformations, some of the themes that we've been working on, really great themes, like even like spiritual business stuff, like identity stuff, all sorts of things, relationship things, and just sort of almost like, I don't know, like showing souls' journeys through these like difficult challenges and higher perspectives on them as well. So I don't even know yet. So that's coming through. So those kind of sessions are ending this month. So I'm going to start collating and writing in April, to be out fairly soon. Now, I mean, now I did that book so quick, I know that I can do it. So that's
I was
going
going
to
to
be coming
ask you,
out.
do you have like a date where you're like, okay, I'm done with this one?
I think I'm going to do it because I think I'm just an impatient soul. So I don't
Okay,
really like the idea of working on something for 6 months. I think it's just,
okay.
that's where it comes from. I'm like, I just want it out like next month. But I'm also honoring myself, going, you don't need
Yeah.
to put yourself under pressure. So I'm just going to look to kind of get that out in the next, let's say 2-3 months, first half of this year anyway. So just kind of like at some
How
point.
crazy is that?
Yeah.
Like she's already on to her next book.
Yeah.
Isn't
But
that crazy?
it's crazy. The thing that's maybe exciting and scaring me the most is this above and beyond is I'm going to record. I am in the process of recording the audio version.
Perfect.
And that, funny enough, scares me more than any of the other stuff I've done. It's
Oh
so
my
funny
God.
because it's putting your voice to it, right? It's like my ultimate thing. Reading my book, connecting with it. I know that it's very important to do it, and I'm happy to do it, but there is like, so I feel you on the procrastination bit of the book, because I'm doing that very thing right now with my audio.
You're I'm just like already picturing just like listening to you, and I feel like it's gonna be amazing. It's gonna be amazing.
Well, I will talk slower. I talk fast when I'm like in a conversation. Obviously, it'll be slower. But yeah, I'm just going to slowly, just bit by bit record the pieces, and again, just worry about how to do it later. But that excites me and scares me, which is a good sign.
That's so powerful.
That's going on. Yeah. So those two things are exciting me at the moment.
So you're just a rock star. You're like you're an author, you're a rock star, transformational guide, all the things. And it's just, oh my God. Like, I just want to say how proud I am of you. Like I'm happy that we've been able to co-create in this lifetime. I'm happy that you are just on this path of fire and sharing your gifts, and I just want to again applaud you, because you had all these things come up, you know, where you could have been like, no, I can't do that. That's not for me. I'm just going to go. That was a great session, but I'm good, you know, but you're like, no, there's something in here that's calling me towards it. And I'm going to play with it. I have no idea what's going to be on the other side of it, but I'm going to play with it. I have no idea what's going to be on the other side of the book, receiving clients, doing a summit. You know, it's like, it does not matter when you feel that pull, because that pull, you already know there's going to be magic on the other side of it. Yeah.
What it is trusting that as well. And I really do. I think that's the thing. I really trust the journey, the life, like even when things, and by all means my life is not perfect, there are a lot of things that I'm wanting to shift even now, and I'm on that journey, but there's a trust now, whereas before I would have been stressed maybe when things don't go to plan, or I'm not doing what I actually want to do. Now I feel like I can just trust it. Like whatever, if you adopt that belief, right, whatever happens, I'm okay. Whatever happens, everything's conspiring in my favor, even if it makes no sense. And I really, really every day it's like a mantra for me now, and it just takes the pressure off. So you know you're going to be okay, you know?
Yeah, you are. It's no matter, it's just like that micro second in that moment where your life feels like, oh, but it's like, you know, you're going to get through it. And trust me, going through the journey of evolution and ascension, like I get it. There's so much that happens in the background to become the, you know, higher version of us, continuously choosing to be the higher version of us. There's a lot of shedding. There's a lot of layers that get to fall away. And it's like trusting in the moment, even, you know, when it feels a little bit funky, that funk's coming up for a reason. You know, those thoughts are coming up for a reason, for us to release and purge and clear, so that we can have these beautiful experiences. And I always feel like, you know, sometimes people want to skip the journey, but the journey is amazing, because that's where we find ourselves. The journey is powerful. So one, I want to say thank you so much for being on the show. You're a rock star. You get to listen to it in the tub.
I will.
But I do want to ask you, you know, what are you working on right now? Obviously, we know you're working on your second book, but what programs do you have that you can share with the community? What's your magic?
Well, so right now, the newest service I brought in, it was such a full circle thing, was to share that with you, is the my high level channel service, which is, it came through, I don't think I've shared this with you yet. It only came through was it only last month? Because I've worked with a few people already. It feels like, it just came through. It's like, oh yeah, it was off the back of a session with someone where the guidance was, okay, we're going to activate her channel next time. And I was like, oh, how do I do this? Is this a thing I do? And they were like, yep, this is something we're going to do. This is something you're going to do. And I was like, oh my goodness, like it was such a like a plot twist for me. So that's the newest service that I've got, which is just such an honor to do that, because it just always brings me back to what I did with you, and now I'm doing it for others. So I've got the high level channel package, which is, well, it's two things: either activating new channels, but it's also for current channels, for any clearing and strengthening, because a lot of people are having, there's a lot going on at the moment energetically.
Yeah.
Well, when you, as a channel, you've got to, as you know, right, being aware of what energies are coming in. Sometimes we get a bit of interference and other things, difficulties. So there's some, for those types of people who are already channeling, we're going to do the sort of any healing, clearing, deep clearing, strengthening and protection of the channel. So it's all different kind of ways. But that's new. That's a big, beautiful service now. That's again, it was just like blew me away in the best way. So that's a kind of new one. My usual kind of just working in packages with people. Again, I do a lot of clearing, transformations. I'm all in the kind of deep level clearing, but again, I've got a lot of offerings. There's always different things, but the thing I've got, I don't know when this is going out, but there's a free masterclass I'm doing that came through, because I haven't done one in ages. So that will be, I don't even know what day I am now. Right, that's happening tomorrow, the 16th of March. But even if someone's listening afterwards, if you check out any of my info, there'll be a place where you can sign up for that free masterclass, because it was a very one that came through just to be offered, and it's called The Space in Between. And what it is, it's, you know, that, yeah, it's like that place where it's when you've done a lot of clearing and releasing, like you're not in the old you anymore, so you've really done enough, like you're not in there, but you're not in the new version yet, right? The thing hasn't come in, right? I've been there so many times, like the clients haven't come in, or the money hasn't come in, or the next step for you hasn't come in, or your book hasn't. You're in this in between space in between, and that's where, keep finding that that's where people lose their belief. It's just this really delicate space, right? So we're going to do a masterclass just kind of holding the space, helping you just to anchor into this, something you can just come back to over and over, a process you can use, and also just some energies to help ground you in, so that you know what to do in this space, because this will either slow you down or help you get into the magic, right? But a lot of people, when they give up at this point and they go backwards and they're like, oh, I don't really believe it, and you know, you undo all the amazing stuff you've done over here, right? So that's what we're creating. So I don't even know fully what's going to come through. It's gonna be like 90 minutes, but I love that. I never plan these things, because they just come through.
Just literally channel through.
They just channel through. We have a lot of fun. So yeah, so that's going to be available. So that's a really good one. I'm really looking forward to that, because I think that's really needed, just especially with these weird, like there's so much fast energy happening right now. Like changes are rapid, and so sometimes we're like, whoa, like 1 foot here, 1 foot here, like how do we navigate this? So that's there. So check that out if anyone wants to just ground it into that. That's going to be a great energy. I'm excited about that. Yeah,
I love it. Like if you're watching the video, you probably just saw me cheesing the whole time when she started talking about offering her channeling services, because it is like there's like no words. It makes me so happy, because I remember when I started my whole process, and then one of my mentors was like, yeah, you're going to start teaching people. I was like, what? And then my team was like, you're ready. I'm like, what? But it's like, you know, we go through these processes to share our magic and our wisdom. So I'm excited for every single beautiful divine being that gets to be mentored by you and brought on as a channel. And, you know, thank you for, you know, taking the key and continuously unlocking the door and passing it on. And I always say, it's like, we forget that, you know, we call people to co-create with us for a reason, because we're not here to do our missions by ourselves. That would be too much. So it's like calling in beautiful souls like yourself, and you calling in beautiful souls. We're just creating this massive ripple in the world, where it's like, you're on the other side of the world for me, you know. Now you get to activate. Obviously you can activate internationally, but it's like, it's powerful,
isn't it? But it's so good, and I want to thank you while we're here as well. Like, I officially really thank you, because that's the ripple, as you said, ripple effects. And imagine, like, it's such a simple thing sometimes, but if you never put your stuff on YouTube, you know, I wouldn't have found you in that way. And, maybe there would have been like a plan B, because I believe
Yeah.
we probably have like, but then it wasn't the highest level one, right? So you wouldn't have activated me. I wouldn't have done what I'm doing in the way that I'm doing it, rippling out to them, and they're going to help them, and they're going to help them. And it's just like, I love being a part of that. I'm so excited to like be here on the planet right now, as much as
Yeah.
it's crazy, because there's so much amazingness, and there's so many, we're all impacting each other, so even if like, just to speak to anyone that, if you're like doing a video and you've got like 2 views or something, and I've been there, I don't have a massive following right now as I'm speaking, right? And it will grow, but like, speak to just like 2 people, because
Yeah.
each time you do it, it's gonna light something. So I just love it. So thank you for everything that you do, because even your energy, like sometimes I just tune into you just like for like 60 seconds and I'm like, okay.
You're
Right,
like, let's go.
back, right, yeah. And I listen to, I've got all of your like good stuff from the light language library, and the manifestation shift, the 30-day one. I'm redoing that, like it's like the 4th time I'm doing it, by the way.
I love it.
I started it on the 1st of March. I was like, I'm gonna do it really neatly, like so I'm on like day 16 or whatever, day 15 we're on today. So I'm doing it and I'm listening to it, and I'm hearing things I didn't hear before, which I just want to quickly say, because that shows you like, sometimes you think, oh, you've heard it all before, manifestation and frequency. We haven't. We're at different frequencies every time. So this is the 4th time I'm doing it in 2 years, and I'm hearing things. I heard something today that I don't remember ever hearing before, because I'm obviously in a different place and I can hear it. So I'm still tuning into your stuff. You help me every day. Just want to tell you that, so and I'm no doubt, however many souls out there, you're still helping that you maybe don't even know, right? Because you just want to like reflect that back, so you receive it as well, because it's just so incredible what you do. And I really am so grateful for all of what you've done.
My heart is so warm, and I want to tell you that the manifestation shift, that's my like online book that I channeled. So the fact that you're, still, because it's not really even up on my site right now, the fact that you're still listening to it. And it's crazy because I literally just thought about it before we got on the call. I was like, I need to put that on Amazon so that people can like read it in a book format. So for you reiterating that from spirit,
nudge nudge
nudge, that's how spirit works. Spirit loves coming in. But thank you. I receive it all. And I feel like I always say my energy is such a gift from God. It's such a gift from God. I'm like your spiritual coffee in the morning, just like waking you up and cracking you open. And I love being that. So I'm happy that you still receive my work and you use it for your highest good. And it's true. And I want to speak to the understanding that, what we're doing, even this masterclass, someone in 5 years can listen to this masterclass and then download new things, because it's a living transmission. So the transmission is even evolving, it's a living transmission. It's ascending. So for example, it's like when we have our business, I call my business a soul mission grid. If I'm ascending, anything in my soul mission grid, any programs are going to ascend with me. So like, even if you go back to Instant Money Recode or like the Soul Recode, I forgot exactly what it's called. It's like those transmissions are literally ascending, which is crazy and amazing.
Yeah, that makes sense. I feel that, because when I do revisit, it's like, oh, I'm feeling something different with this, so, and I know that you're always like up leveling and shifting and everything, and and that's, we have like almost like a duty to do it, right? If we're flowing the energy out, that's how I feel. It's like I'm never going to not seek out people to assist me or guide me if I need to, or just continuously like develop myself, because that's I'm sharing that with others. So I want to be at the highest level I can be without pushing it, but just always expanding. So I love it. I love all of it.
I love you so freaking much. Thank you for being here. Thank you for just spreading the light that you spread in the world. It's an honor. I can even like remember, our first Zoom call where you're just sitting on the other side, like literally. But so I hope everyone listening to this just feels so inspired to just go after whatever you're desiring, and allowing her story to show you that there's no limitation whatsoever. Receiving those nudges and guidance. And one thing I'll ask you is, where can they find you? What are all your socials and
Yeah,
websites?
so yeah, anywhere. So basically Facebook's my main, I say my main place, but I'm on Instagram just as much now. So Facebook, Instagram, under the Awake Revolution. It's usually the Awake Revolution or the Awake Revolution with Marie Fleming Grant. On YouTube as well. YouTube, videos, and Facebook and Instagram are the main three. That is where I'm at right now, so you can find me on there. And I'm there pretty regularly, like I'm there every day, sharing something. But I do a lot of reels and messages and live streams and videos. They're very regular, so there's lots of messages there you can tune into. And I've just got a lot to say.
Okay, we do. It never turns
It
off.
continuously flows.
Yeah.
It doesn't turn off.
Also, we're just going to celebrate this beauty over here, and I'm going to drop all of her links. I'm going to drop the link to buy this as well. And I love you. Thank you so much for being on.
And to you.